Hi, you guys. Welcome to my little paintbrush. My name is Cami, and I'm excited that you're here today to paint this Minecraft creeper with me. This is my daughter's favorite game right now, and she said I had to paint a creeper, so we did that and I love it. I hope you're here to have a good time because this one is really fun to paint. Real quick before we start, hopefully you have our paint kit, because if you do, you're going to have a prepped surface, you're going to have the same size paintbrushes I'm going to use today, and you're going to have all these paint colors ready for you, okay? If you don't and you're wondering how to get that, click the link below. It'll take you to our website and you can purchase this paint kit, and we'll ship it right to your door, and then you can come back and watch with me. If you're doing this just with your supplies at home, that's totally fine too. You can freehand this sketch onto a surface, and it can be any surface you have. There's no rules here. That's what's so great about art. And then just grab the colors you have around. You can even color along with me. You can do watercolors along with me, whatever you have. Let's just create together, okay? Let me show you the brushes that I'm going to use today. I've got 3 different sizes here. I've got a number 12 flat. This is the biggest brush I'm going to use today, and it's a good size for all my starter artists, beginner artists, especially little hands. So all my little ones today, this is a good size for you. I also have a number 6 round. This is just in case we get into places that are a little too tight for our flat and we feel more in control with our round. That's what that's for. And then I have a number 2 detail, and those are for the lines we're going to practice today, which is always a little tricky, but we can do it together. Okay, so these are the brushes I have. Let me show you my paint palette. Okay, I've separated my paint into their different piles, and notice I've got 3 separate piles of white. That's a good tip, because as you are adding white to colors, you might get some of those colors into the white. So if you have separate piles, that way, when you need some really good clean white, you don't have a contaminated pile of white. You can go to one of your clean ones, okay? So that's a great tip. Other than that, I have a couple jars of water. I like to use something glass and heavy to rinse my brushes in. That way they don't tip over. And I also have a paper towel or some kind of rag that you can wipe your brush off with. Okay, so let's dive right in and get started. I'm going to start with my number 12 flat, and I'm going to get it wet. Because one thing people don't know about acrylic paints is that it actually needs water. Okay, it's not watercolor, so we don't need a ton of water in our paint, but we do need some to help it flow nice and easy onto our surface. Okay, so I got my brush wet, and I'm going to start with my background color, which I chose a fun blue for. Now this is the original blue color right here, and it's a little dark for me. I want to add some white, so I'm just going to scooch some white over just like this and start to mix it together until I have the shade that I want, okay? Which for me is just a nice light blue. If you like the darker blue, go for it. Just know that the darker the shade of paint, usually the more coats that you'll need. So if you go straight dark without adding any of the white, you might need a couple layers. White is a really pigmented paint, and so it helps with coverage. Okay, so I've got that on my brush. Let's go ahead and just start the background. That's all the place around our creeper. I gotta paint around my clipboard here, but you guys get the gist. Go around your entire creeper. Get as close to the creeper as you can without getting into the creeper. But, you know, it's okay. Paint's pretty forgiving, so if you get in there, don't worry about it. Got a little shaky going on here on my easel, so I just want to straighten that out. See how I'm flattening my brush? It fans my bristles out. that actually helps get a nice clean line. So sometimes we're scared to spread those bristles out, but it actually helps us. I'm going to come down here to this corner. If at any point your paint is feeling thick and it's not really coming off your brush, that's an indication that you need to add water, which for me will be quite often because I'm surrounded by all these lights, and so my paint is going to dry a lot faster than yours. And so I'm going to have to probably add water quite a bit. This little section here. And then we'll come and finish this side. Now, I am painting on a multimedia paper. Okay, so I don't have edges like you do if you have a canvas that you're painting on. If you're painting on a canvas, may I suggest, let me show you the original, that you go around the edges of your canvas. This is the edge. I like to call it wrapping, okay? So go ahead and wrap that paint color all the way around the edge of your canvas. This will help your painting look nice and complete. That way when you go to set it on your shelf or hang it on your wall, it's completed on all sides, okay? So anything that's blue on the front, go ahead and wrap around the edges. Now, if you have our paint kit, you have red as a background option too, because we use red on our little TNT that our creeper is holding, our explosives. Okay, so you can go ahead and use red as a background color. If you mix the red and blue together, you can have purple. You can also make a pink background with, of course, red and white. So lots of options. This is your painting, so even though you're following along with me, it's not going to look exactly like mine. It shouldn't look exactly like mine, and any changes you want to make, feel free to do that, okay? All right, our background is in. That's pretty quick. If I'm going a little too fast for you, that's the great thing about technology. You can pause this video. So pause it, catch up, go get a snack, whatever you need to do, okay? Now I'm going to keep the blue on my brush, my background color, but I'm going to put some white, a big chunk of white on the corner of it like that, okay? And I'm going to take that white corner and I'm just going to add some white up close to my creeper. I like to do this. It's like you're creating a halo of light around your subject. And it just draws the eye in. It also helps us not have such a flat background, which I like. So I'm just going to kind of brush in some of this white. Now, sometimes the camera doesn't pick up on this very well. So if you're having that problem, you can't really see what I'm doing or understand, look at the reference photo that you have with your kit or online, and it'll show you kind of better what I'm doing here, okay? But I'm just taking that white corner and I'm brushing it around my creeper. And we do this with almost all of our paintings. And it's just a fun thing that we like to do. But like I said earlier, this is your painting, okay? So you can make decisions. You can opt out of certain steps. You can say, you know what, I don't like the way that looks. I'm going to switch it up. I'm going to do something different. All up to you. You are the artist today. I love it though. I really do. So we're just going to go around. Anytime you want to just blend in a little bit, or maybe you got too much white, you can go back to that blue and just blend it in. So it's pretty forgiving, which is really great. great thing about painting, especially acrylics. You can almost always fix it. Just still going around here, adding my bits of white, blending it in. This is a nice opportunity for you too, if you're new to painting, to kind of learn how to blend. And this particular technique is sometimes referred to as floating, because you're floating one shade into the other. And so kind of try to picture that as you're doing it. Are my two shades, this light white, almost light blue, is it blending well into the dark? Which is what we're trying to do here. I'm just going to blend some of this in up here, brush it. If it looks streaky, that's kind of fun and we like that, so just let it be. Okay, this looks fantastic. Make sure your edges are all done. And just like that, we've got our background in, okay? Now, let's wash our brush really, really good. You want to put the brush all the way to the bottom of your jar and swish really good, okay? Gets that color out really well. So swish, swish, swish. All right, and then we'll just wipe it off on our paper towel or our apron, or maybe you've got a towel there with you, whatever you've got. Okay, it's time to move on to our creeper. We've got, obviously in Minecraft, everything's made of squares. So typically this would all just be squares everywhere, but that's kind of complicated. So we just separated it out into different sections, okay? So what we're gonna do is we are going to start with our darker squares and then we'll go in with the light, okay? So on here we've got this nice dark green. I want to add some white to it. Again, this is for coverage, okay? Notice I'm pulling white from a different pile now, right? It's closer to my green and it doesn't have any blue in it. And then I can just pull in there. So I added a little bit of white, not too much. I still want the dark green, but the white will help the coverage, okay? And now I want you to go through, start at the top of your creeper and work your way down, and we're going to fill in these little squares, okay? Now the great thing is your paintbrush is a square, okay? So use the shape of your paintbrush to really help you with this step. And if you go out of those lines, you don't need to worry, because we're going to come through with our next shade of green and we can clean it up, okay? So don't panic if you've got this darker green out of its little box. It's totally fine. Or maybe you're thinking, that's not really a square anymore. Don't worry, we're gonna do some cleanup. I love a good cleanup, and that's coming. So no worries. Just use the shape of your brush. This is also a good time to learn brush control. Now, we tend to get a little anxious and we paint really, really fast. And this is a good lesson on just slowing down, okay? Taking our time, because really it's not a race, and it's much nicer to walk away from a painting thinking, you know what? I did so good. I took my time. Maybe it took you 3 hours. Maybe you did it over the span of a couple of days. Whatever the case may be, it doesn't matter, because if you can walk away and say, I did my best, I took my time, that's the most important thing, okay? But if you walk away going, oh, I rushed that, I should have slowed down, then that's kind of frustrating. Now, I know you might be tempted to use your smaller round brush for this step. Don't do it. Stick with this one, okay? I'm telling you, these squares are a lot easier to do with this squared off brush. Green can sometimes be one of our shy colors. So if you didn't add a ton of white to it, or your paint is really thinned out, you might be thinking, okay, I need more than one layer in these squares. And that's totally fine. In fact, we might just go back and go over them again together. Especially this lime green, because it has a lot of yellow in it. Yellow is also very shy, and so it needs the extra help of multiple layers. So we're coming all the way. Any of these greens, like this one in particular, that hit the edge of your painting, you know, you're going to wrap that around. Wrap, wrap, wrap. Do the edge. Complete your painting. All of these should be about the width of your paintbrush. Also very helpful for us. This one's not a square and this one's not a square. Those are lines to help you separate the little legs. So keep that in mind. Then we've got this one. Those are kind of nice big ones. Okay, let's double check. I'm looking at my example over here, and I think we've got them all. Yep. Okay, let's go over them again, just so if you need to, I'll do it with you. This second layer should be pretty quick because you've already got the gist of it in there. And if you feel like you have enough coverage, don't worry about this other layer. But I'm a little OCD, and I like a lot of good coverage on my paintings. Again, my paint is going to dry quite a bit faster than yours, okay? I'm in this warm room with a lot of light, so it's drying fast. But that is it. Those are your squares on the creeper. It looks a little creepy right now, right? But we're gonna get it all figured out here as we go. Okay, let's lighten our green even more for the rest of our creeper. Okay, so I'm gonna pull in quite a bit more green. I want to have a nice contrast. I don't want my little squares to get lost. I want people to be able to see the big squares of darker green that I've got in there. So I'm adding a good amount of white. Okay. I also want to make sure that I'm making enough paint to paint the entire creeper. I don't want to run out of this color and then have to try and match it again. So make sure you mix a good amount. Okay. Oh, we've got all my, look at this, all my black and my red because I'm up on a tilt here. That's okay. So I'm going to add some water. I just dip my brush in water and then I mix that water into my paint to make sure it's nice and thin. Not too thin, but I want it to nicely glide onto my canvas. Okay, now we're going to paint everything else in the creeper. We can leave the eyeballs and stuff alone, although they're going to be black. So if you accidentally get paint in there, it's no stress, okay? The TNT dynamite, we want to be a little more careful with, but everything else is fine. Okay, this looks like a nice shade. Now I told you we're going to do cleanup. Here's our cleanup. We're going to get nice and close to everything and make sure we clean up all those lines. This is a good time too to cover any pencil mark. Get as close as we can. Again, we can stay out of those eyes, those black, I'm assuming they're eyes. You guys would know Can this guy see through these squares? And if we get paint in those, totally fine. They're going to be black. That's what's so great about things that are black in your painting. It'll cover them right up. So I'm pushing my brush flat, all my bristles flaring out. That's how we get those nice, clean lines. Press them out. And just go around all of our guys here. Now we've got a big section of the creeper that we need to wrap around our canvas. This whole half of our canvas is the creeper. So we need to wrap that edge nice and tight. So make sure you do that. Again, you might be tempted to use a smaller brush. Stick with this squared off one. It's going to help you. I promise. Sometimes we just feel safer with those smaller brushes. But these big ones actually give us cleaner lines if we know how to use them right. All the way down this. Just like so. And if you wanted to, you could definitely add some more dark green squares into your creeper. You could make this a lot more of those blocks, like in Minecraft. Because like I keep saying, this is ultimately your painting. And I love to see how artists change things up for themselves and stick to what they like. That's what makes art so fun. Oh, how we doing? This is kind of tedious work, but it'll be worth it. Remember, if I'm going a bit too fast for you, go ahead and pause it. In some occasions, I'm too slow, mostly for my little male artist. If you're already off of this step and ready for the next one, maybe just stretch out a little bit. Maybe check all your lines. Go back and see, can I clean any of this up a little bit? How can I make this a little better? Because this particular painting has a lot of clean shapes, a lot of these squares, which is one of the reasons why it can be a little tricky. So if you're already finished, maybe just go back and check on that. See if there's anything you can do to make it just that much better. You could put another layer on. I think I'm going to end up doing that because, again, it's the screen. I love, love, love the color, but it is shy and it needs layers. So we gotta help it out a little bit. It's starting to come together. Starting to see it. Sometimes with paintings, you gotta give it a little chance. It's easy to give up and say, you know what, I have no idea what's happening on my canvas here. And I don't like how it's looking, but just stick with it because it's gonna come together. I'm going to try hard to stay out of my TNT dynamite here because it is red and white, and so it'll be a little tricky to cover this green up with red and white, so I'm going to try and stay out of it if I can. If you get some in there, the best thing to do is just leave it alone for a minute. Let it dry completely and then paint white over it first. It might take a layer or two of white, but do that and then go back over it with the red, or if it's the white part, you can do a couple layers of white. Down at the feet here of our creeper is another time we're going to want to go around our canvas. We're going to want to do the edges, right, around the bottom. Even the bottom needs to be painted. Got to wrap the bottom too. Oh, it's just coming together. We're almost done here. Got these little sections, lots of little sections to do here. Lots of little sections. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to outline this, right? And so that's going to really bring all of it together too. You're going to start to see all the shapes, the separation of the shapes really well. Going to get that line practice in. Not always the favorite part, but a good time to learn it. Okay, so I've got the gist of it in there now. What I want to do is go back again, clean it up a little bit, and add another layer of green just so it's nice and filled in. With this particular painting, we don't have any shadowing going on in the creeper, okay? And so every stroke is going to be seen really well. And so that's why we want to go through and make sure we've got a nice, good coverage, nice clean edges, nice clean lines, squared off the very best that we can, covering up as much pencil as we can, really just give it our very best, okay? So that's what we're going to go through and do now. And just a reminder on all of that, because I have to remind myself too, this is a painting, okay? It's not a print. We are hand painting this, and so it's going to look that way. So for my artists that are feeling super overwhelmed, because anytime we paint particular characters that we know and love, sometimes we're extra hard on ourselves because we want them to look exactly like the way we know and love them. But this is hand painted. Don't forget that it's going to look that way, and it should look that way. So even though we're doing our best, we're cleaning up as much as we can, we still are going to be okay if we walk away going, you know what, there's brush strokes there. You know what, I see a little pencil line there. You know what, that's not a perfect square. It's okay. It's hand painted. It was never meant to be perfect, okay? We're just giving it our best. Anytime we do 2 layers, the second one goes in really, really well and really quick because we already have that base coverage in there. So that's kind of nice. Just get in all those little spots. Clean up, clean up. And this is going to come together for us really, really well. I believe. Little areas in there. You know, I guess if you wanted, and maybe you are doing a different color creeper, you could do that. I don't know much about Minecraft. Maybe you guys can give me some pointers in the comments. Some details I don't know about. Even though my daughter loves this game, I don't know a whole lot about it. So I don't know if you can have different color creepers. I assume you can because you make everything, right? Do you make, maybe you don't make the creepers. Guys, I don't pretend to know everything about Minecraft. Just here to paint this creeper. When I taught in studio, I would get corrected all the time on characters because you guys know your stuff. But now I'm just over here in this little room by myself, so I don't know. No one's correcting Cami. Miss Cami, you're wrong. But you can still correct me in the comments. So that's nice. Okay. We've done our final layer of green. Got it all cleaned up as best we can, and I'm feeling pretty good about it. It is looking pretty fantastic. And I can see it come together. I hope you can too. Let's rinse our brush really good because we're gonna go to red. And you know, oh, actually we can't go to red. We forgot Creeper's hand. He's got a hand over here around the dynamite. Better get that in. Always forget little things like this. Get busy chatting and painting. Anyway, there we go. Now we're gonna go to red, okay? And if you know your color wheel, red and green are beautiful side by side, right? That's why Christmas is so fun and colorful. But when mixed together, not so good. They will mud out, which means they'll basically turn brown to mud. So I want to make sure my brush is really, really clean before I jump into this next step. So I'm going to rinse, rinse, rinse really good. And now we're going to work with some red that's been overtaken by our black, but that's okay. I'm going to get the teeniest bit of white. Not a ton because I don't want pink, but just like I've been saying the whole time, white helps with coverage. I'm trying to get it in here. And so we want to just add a little bit of white to help with that coverage, okay? So now we're going to paint in this top portion here. And around that, across the top here. So many squares today. So many squares in this painting. I'm not going to worry too much about my edges because we're going to come through and really clean those up when we outline, okay? But I am just going to get as close as I can. Without stressing myself out too much. And you can see this red next to the green is gorgeous, right? Really pops. That's because they complement each other. They're good next to each other. They just don't blend well. Now, one tip I forgot to mention when we started is turning your canvas or your surface around as you paint. So I'm kind of stuck here painting upright the whole time because I've got the lights and I've got the cameras and I can't move my surface, okay? But if I were painting at my easel, like when I created this piece, if I had a weird angle that I couldn't really reach very well, or that was making my back hurt to reach it, I would just flip it around, okay? So you can flip your painting upside down, you can flip it on its side, whatever you need to do to be able to reach it and to comfortably paint. There's no rules in how your painting is supposed to sit. Basically, you need to be comfortable so you don't hurt yourself, your back, as you paint, which I do all the time. All right. Trying to get up in here, guys. Close to my edges, clean edges, clean edges. All these squares. Okay, so we've got that in. Really nice pop of color. I'm going to do something a little silly. I'm going to get just a touch of blue and come mix it with some red. Let's see if I can pull some of that. Okay. I'm might need a little more. I'm making sort of this plum color, okay? And I'm going to use this plum looking color to shadow, because we are going to shadow a little bit. We got to learn some little shadowing today. Okay? And we're going to use that plum looking color to shadow. So I made a little bit of that. I'll wash my brush again. Rinsey, rinsey. And now I'm going to reload with my red. So red all over my brush, and then dip the corner of it. It's got a little bit of water on it. I don't want any drips coming. I'm going to dip the corner of it in that plum purpley color. That's going to be my shadow. And I'm going to start to shadow on my dynamite. Can you see that little dark line now? So this is the same thing we did with the white and blue on the background, where we sort of blended one color into the other. We're doing the same thing. And this is a really good opportunity to learn in just a really small space and not have to do it on a whole painting like we sometimes do. So take this opportunity and try and learn it here just a little bit. Oh, up here. Awesome. Just a fun little shadow. It's kind of, there's a dip right there. Fill in a little extra if we need to. If you want to, you can shadow up here a little bit, but I think I'm just going to leave it. Because I like just a touch of shadow. I'm going to come through again on that spot. I think it just got a little too wet, so it's not covering up for me. So we'll go back to that. But while that dries, we're going to paint that little top piece. We're going to get our round brush this time. Haven't used that yet. And we're going to make a little bit of gray. Nice charcoaly color. Okay. And we're going to fill this part in. Just like that. Again, we're going to come through with our detail brush and do some lines. So no stress. Let that dry. Swishing my brush again. Let's fill in these big black squares, okay? Now, we want to be a little bit careful with our black. We've worked hard on everything. Don't get too relaxed and accidentally streak a bunch of black everywhere else, okay? Because, like I said earlier, we can fix just about everything, but black is hard to recover. It takes a lot of layers, so we want to be careful. So let's go ahead and just fill these in. Okay, you can start in the middle and kind of just fill the space. And then when we're ready to get along the edge, flatten that brush out so you get that nice clean edge. Go around here. This might be one of those moments where I would turn my canvas a different direction so that I could feel like I have a good angle on these squares. So if you need to do that, go for it. But again, it will look like we hand painted it, okay? We gotta be okay with that. Let's do this other one. Then come along here. really use the shape of your brush here, guys. It's going to be your best friend to get these nice clean lines and angles. Otherwise, it's going to be really hard. I gotta maneuver around here. So that I can get it too, because it's kind of tricky. It is a little tricky. And then we'll get this part. Don't forget to breathe. I hold my breath when I do these squares. Squares and circles. Hold my breath. But we almost got it. Just about done. Really, with the whole painting. You guys have done awesome. Maybe you've taken a snack break. I could use a snack break. Maybe you've stuck with it the entire time. Either way, I hope you're proud of yourself because this is tricky work. Okay, whew. I'm gonna call it a win. I'm gonna say great job and call it a win. Now, I wanna put a little bit of light in these eyes, okay? So I'm going to just make sure my black is thin, so I just add some water there. We're gonna do some more floating. Same thing we did on the dynamite, same thing we did on the background. Okay, we're gonna do it with some black and then some white. So dip that corner in white and see when I brush it out a little bit, you can see what happens there. It blends into each other, which is what I want. Okay, and I'm gonna come over, let's see, what eye should I start on? Let's start on this one. I'm gonna come over here and just straight down as best I can. Okay, just like that. And maybe clean up the bottom just a little bit and come back up. Okay, so you're just taking it and go straight down. Okay, so that's one side. Let's do the other eye. Straight down. Okay, adding light. Let's do what I assume is a mouth or a nose. I don't know. I just went off of these images. My daughter said it was right, so we're going with it, guys. Okay, now I'm gonna try and come and curve it around the top. Okay, so kind of a tricky, you might want to go over it again and curve around the top, just like that. Same thing here, and curve around the top. This painting has great little opportunities to learn some of these techniques without having to do it in the whole painting like some of ours have. So even though these seem a little bit scary and hard to do, I really want you to try, okay? Because this is good practice for these techniques. So then with the nose, I'm just gonna kind of zigzag over here like that. Okay. Woo, we did it. We did it, you guys. Stop. Swish, swish. Rinse in my brush. All right. Like I said before, my OCD is getting the best of me, and I need to go over that shadow on my TNT, and now it's dry, so I can. What happens with wet paint is if we keep painting over wet paint thinking we're going to get coverage, what happens is it starts to get to a sticky phase, and when it's sticky, we start pulling it up instead of laying it down. And that's what was happening right here on my dynamite. I was trying to get my shadow to stay right there and blend, but every time I went over it, the paint was peeling off, so I wasn't getting anywhere. And now you can see it will lay down. See that? It now will just lay right on there and I can do the shadow. But I was being super impatient and not willing to wait. So lesson learned. Okay, there we go. Friends, we are to the point where we are going to add lines to our painting, okay? Now, that's when our very special detail brush comes in. I call it special because we don't use it unless we're doing teeny tiny paint work, okay? The reason is we don't want this guy to have a bad hair day. If we used it for big spaces, it would get a bad hair day and then not give us those beautiful lines, okay? So we want to be gentle with this brush. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get it in water and I'm going to add drips of water into my black paint. Now what I'm trying to create here is a puddle of black paint. I want it to be loose, okay? You don't want it to be like water because we're not watercoloring with these acrylics, okay? But you want it to be runny enough that you can go across your canvas in a straight, beautiful line and not have your paintbrush stop over and over again and your brush stroke break, okay? So that's why I add that water. People say all the time, the lines are so hard, Miss Cami, the lines are so hard. Well, if you make sure your paint is nice and thinned out, I am telling you, you will find that the lines are not that difficult, okay? Once you have a nice steady hand and a nice thinned out paint, you can glide right over it, okay? So let's try it out. Let's start with this little corner here. I'm gonna place my brush and just like that. Now that was pretty easy, okay, because it was just a section. We have some big sections of lines, and what we're gonna try to do is not lift our brush off, okay? It's even hard for Miss Cami, but we're gonna try because actually the faster we do it and the more we can keep our brush on the surface, the cleaner the line will be, okay? So let's take a deep breath together and let's go across the top of our creeper. So I'm going to place my hand down and go across without picking it up. I almost did it without a brush stroke breaking. See right there, it broke a little bit, but that's okay. I can go over that section. But you see how we had a nice steady line because we just kept going, okay? Now, if you weren't able to do that line without your brush stroke breaking, like maybe right here in the beginning, you need to add more water to your paint. Okay, I'm going to curve around here, so you might not see me on the camera for a minute, but I'm going to come down this section, okay? So I'm going to come down right here and do the same thing. I'm going to try and keep my hand steady. Oh, we did it again, guys. Steady, steady. Okay, let's do over here. That time my stroke didn't break at all, which was awesome. Now we're going to come down here. Oh, I'm starting to break a little bit. All the way down. It's a lot harder to go back over our lines. That's when things get a little crazy. So that's why we want to try to stay steady, okay? And not lift. Go do that little line there. Let's come across here now. You might be able to still see those pencil marks. Hopefully you can. If you can't, just follow what I'm doing. We're just making a square. So that one got a little chubby on me, so I was trying to even it out. Okay. All right. Now it gets a little easier because there's shorter lines here. Those long ones are tricky, I'll tell you. They are tricky. Okay, now we're gonna start to see our little legs here. It's coming together. Look at that. How'd you do, guys? How did you do? Let's not forget the hand this time. Our little hand is getting forgotten. Now we're going to outline our TNT, okay? We can do this too, guys. Woo! I got a curve on that one. Really, really give yourself some grace here because this is not easy to do. Okay? Lines are really tricky with a paintbrush. And it takes a lot of practice to have consistency with lines. So be patient with yourself. Don't get too angry if it's not looking perfect. Remember what I said? This is hand painted. It will look that way. While we're up here, let's go ahead and outline this guy. What we're going to do is put like a smiley face right there. That indicates the top opening here. Look at that. That little smiley face makes such a difference, huh? Now you can kind of see what that little knob is up there. Okay. Come down this side. Ooh, lots of lines today. We're lucky though because they're straight. Sometimes we have curvy lines and circles though. This is actually not too bad, guys. I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes with my paper, it curves and curls while I'm painting. So then I have bumps, so it's hard to do these straight lines. Let's go ahead and make our dynamite string that you light for the explosion, okay? And you can have fun with this. You can make it super curvy. You can flop it off the page, however you want to do it. I'm going to come up here and I'm going to give it a twist, and then I'm going to boop right there inside, because that's where it starts. Okay. This is looking cool. Okay, if we're feeling brave, we can write TNT. Okay, let me show you the best way to do this, the easiest way. Okay, if you're feeling like, holy cow, I'm so nervous, I can't do this, Miss Cami, get a pencil and pencil it in. If your canvas is dry, pencil it in first and then just go over the pencil. Okay, we're just gonna go for it. Okay, so I'm gonna make 4 lines. Okay, I'm gonna have my T here, and then I'm gonna have my other T is gonna be here. Okay, so now I know where it kind of like starts and ends, and in between, I'm gonna do 2 more lines. These are gonna be my end lines. Okay, so just like that. Doesn't make sense yet, but now we're gonna go T's. Okay, and for the end, we're just gonna do a slanted line, just like that. And now we very easily have put TNT in there. And then you can come through, you can thicken up the lines a little bit if you want, even them out, whatever you want to do. Now, if you've made a mistake with these and you're just not happy at all with how it looks, which sometimes happens, let's be honest, this is tricky stuff, you can let it dry and then cover it with some white and try again. If you catch it before it dries, you can wipe it off. And the best thing to wipe it off with is one of those Clorox wipes because it has alcohol in it and it'll eat away the paint and clean it off. I'm proud of us, you guys. I really am. I'm washing my little detail brush, and the last thing I'm going to do with my detail brush is put it in some white paint and give this little guy a highlight right there. Okay? Now, speaking of highlight, it's that time. We are going to highlight our painting. When I taught classes, I would get complaints all the time. Miss Cami, do we have to highlight our painting? Okay, here's the answer to that. No, it's your painting, so you don't have to do anything. But here's the truth. Your highlights are going to wake up your painting, okay? And so light is so important when we paint. So I would encourage you to do highlights. But if you're feeling like you just love it the way it is and you don't want to do it, that's okay. Maybe even you can try again tomorrow and see if you want highlights tomorrow. But I'm going to put highlights in. I'm going to get a damp brush. This is with clean water, okay? I don't want all the water out. I want it to be damp. That's why I have 2 jars. One jar I keep clean the whole time in case I need this clean water like right now. And I'm going to dip half of my brush in white. So I have just a damp, clean brush with white paint. I'm going to come to this side of my creeper and I'm just going to do a straight line. Okay? If you can't see it well, we're going to do it again. Sometimes too much water equals can't see what you're doing. The reason we put that water in the brush though is so that it would kind of fade out. We get kind of that like fading effect, okay? Now let's come up here. We're going to go up on the side of our brush and then across the top of our creeper. So let me show you that again. Kind of go up on a slant, okay? And then we're going to go across the top. Brush back and forth if you want to. Go over it again. Nice highlight. Hopefully, if you've chosen to do highlights, you can see what's happening. The light on our creeper is helping. Okay, I added some more water because my brush was getting dry. Let's see. We're going to do a highlight here. Another straight shot down. Just a little one here. Got one right here in the leg. And this leg. It's okay if they're not all the same. They're not all as bright. And you can go over them again if you want them to stand out more or if you want them to just be super subtle. It's up to you. We're going to put one right here. See, I, for one, love the highlights. Let's put a little highlight in our TNT. We're going to just kind of go right there and then down here. Okay. There's that bump in my page again. My paper. There we go. Oh, this guy's cute. What do you guys think? I hope you're happy. I hope you're happy with your creeper. If you want to, we didn't get any streaks around this guy, so I might just add a little streak there, maybe some more light. Love some good light. Oh my God. I made my little leg line crooked. Straighten him out. Here we go. Okay, friends, we did it. We painted this creeper together. I want to see yours so bad, so send them to me. You can email them to me. You can tag me on social media, just at my little paintbrush. If you had fun with me, give me a thumbs up. And don't forget, most important part, we need to sign our painting. Let's see, I think I'll do it right here. Always sign your work. You should be proud of your work. okay? Because this is hard. This is not easy. Painting is not easy, but it can be fun and enjoyable if we just go with it and practice and try new things. And I hope you did all of those today. And come back and paint with me. We have tons of fun paintings to do. You, me, Miss Sarah, we can do them together. And thank you for coming today.